Well, guys, thank you so much for tiptoeing on over here to Two Awesome Men. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, last night.
Last night we saw the unbearable weight of massive talent.
Mm-hmm.
This movie I've honestly been really excited about, but I've also been very scared about. Because, well, there's a lot of things, really. First of all, the first trailer wasn't really all that... It interested me from, the point of view that it's a Nicolas Cage playing himself in this weird, crazy movie, you know? But it really didn't interest me because it just didn't seem that, great, the first trailer.
Yeah.
The second trailer, however, gave me a lot more hope for this film. The scary thing about this kind of movie is that, it could either be really horrible or, really good, depending on very small changes in execution, very small differences in execution of the way that, of the film. Honestly, another thing, and there's, a lot of things going against, going against this movie for me, other than the Nicolas Cage part. Another thing that scared, not going against it, but that scared me, was if you look at the filmography of the writer-director, there's not really a lot there.
Yeah.
I think one of them, I can't remember I can't remember the names, but I know one of them, the writer or director, directed one movie before this, and it was That Awkward Moment, that movie with Zac Efron, Miles Teller, and Michael B. Jordan. And then he also produced Movie 43, which is the one
very notorious movie.
A notoriously awful movie. And same with the other, it really worried me because I'm I love Nicolas Cage. And I want this movie to be awesome, but I'm hoping, it would have been really sad if this movie was bad, honestly, because it was such an exciting, crazy concept. Sounded fantastic for a Nicolas Cage movie about himself, playing a parody of himself,
right?
I would just been sad if this movie was bad, but thankfully, I will say that I really did love this movie.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really relieved going into it.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed it. I will say the first 15, 20 minutes, I got kind of scared because it wasn't, the beginning wasn't bad or anything necessarily, but it wasn't necessarily that funny either.
Yeah. I laughed here and there, and there's there was one car scene. I don't really want to get into spoilers. There's a scene where he's in a car having a conversation with someone. That was within the first 15-20 minutes. That was the funniest part of that. But then other than that, it really didn't really. Like you said, it kind of scared me because it's not not funny at all, but it's very small chuckles here and there, and I hope this isn't the whole movie because this could get really boring.
Yeah, exactly. But thankfully, once Pedro Pascal's character gets introduced into the movie, that's when the movie really starts getting really good because Pascal and Nicolas Cage, their chemistry together is amazing.
Yeah.
And it honestly got really hilarious after that point.
Yeah. And just in case you don't know what this movie's about, because I feel like Nicolas Cage alone playing a parody of himself is a pretty big intrigue.
Yeah.
But if you don't know the story, and I'm just gonna, and on it, just a warning, I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Yeah, there's gonna be no spoiler.
Yeah. But I just want to briefly tell you the very vague synopsis of what this movie's kind of about. And basically, it's about Nicolas Cage. He's kind of a dying actor. He's not getting any roles, but he gets invited to a really rich guy's birthday party, and it offers him $1 million to go to this birthday party. But it turns out he's a drug lord, and him and Nicolas Cage become really really good friends. And it's a crazy concept. And like I said, this movie, there's so many aspects of it that really, really, like I said, any slight tweak could have ruined this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
This is how crazy and ridiculous the idea is. Any slight tweak could have ruined it. But everything is, like I said, except for, but even if I was saying the first 15-20 minutes aren't really cringy. None of the jokes were cringy. None of the jokes were awful. Nothing was bad. And in a sense, it does set you up for some interesting story elements of this film in regards to family, with Nicolas Cage. And so, so it did a good job of setting up the film.
Right.
And I guess maybe...
And kind of just Nicolas Cage in this movie, his mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
Where he's at in life.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was able to do that really well. But like we said, whenever Pedro Pascal walks in, that's whenever this movie does really good. And one thing I think why I think the writer of this film actually should work a little more and actually start honing his craft a little better is because this movie knew exactly what the strength of it was, and that was Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal's chemistry.
Exactly.
There was a movie a little bit back, and for some reason this reminded me of it. It was called The Dead Don't Die or something that with Bill Murray and Adam Driver.
Yeah, Adam Driver.
Yeah. That movie was not good. It was not very funny. But the problem with that movie was it didn't realize what its strength was.
Exactly.
And that was the chemistry between Bill Murray and Adam Driver. Those were the best scenes in that movie, but it didn't realize those were the best things about that movie.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I won't say they were barely in it, but they weren't in it enough for how funny they were and how much of the best parts of the movie they were.
Yeah. And so I feel like the writer of this this film really knows how to get that chemistry. And I'm glad that he was able to know, like, I don't need to focus on these outside elements that are going, even though they definitely are part of the story. Mm-hmm. But almost at all times, I need to make sure that Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal are in the same scene. You know, exactly. Almost at all times because they work so well together.
I also really love how they were able to integrate like their relationship and what they talked about throughout the movie with the actual movie itself. Yeah, exactly. Like the premise of the movie itself, kind of.
It's hard for me to completely keep on talking about this movie because I don't want to get into spoilers. And I do feel like what we said about the movie is vague enough to kind of intrigue people, hopefully anyways. So I do want to get to what I feel like are some of the main negatives. And we already really went over probably the biggest one, which is the fact that the first 15 or 20 minutes aren't that funny. But other very small things I noticed was especially times in the beginning, the editing was kind of pretty bad at certain times. There was times whenever you would see people talking right here, you see people talking and then they would cut to someone running up. There was like a time whenever there's Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage and they cut to some girl running up and I thought she was running up to them, but it turned out it was just cutting to a whole new scene. Oh yeah. And so it didn't really set up that scene well enough. Maybe at least like changing over to another character just standing there, so I knew kind of what was going on. Yeah, and it's not like it wildly confused me or anything like that. Yeah, you know, but it is a thing of like whenever editing is done like that, it's really jarring and it kind of just throws you off a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that happened a few times, especially in the beginning, but throughout the movie where the editing was kind of weird. And another thing is there was a scene where Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal were talking to each other, and they kept switching between the two, but Nicolas Cage had like a Dutch angle on him, and Pedro Pascal didn't, and it was really weird. I think people overuse the Dutch angle like quite a bit in film,
like the first Thor movie.
Yeah. I do think it has its purpose, but I think some people are like, let me just play around with the camera or something, you know, like, I'm not trying to discredit this film. It's just that was really weird because it kept swapping back and forth between the Dutch angle and not Dutch angle in the same scene. It was like of the same conversation. And overall, whenever it comes to my biggest complaints, other than those first 15, 20 minutes, it does have to do with those little technical aspects. Yeah. That probably, honestly, most people won't really notice or really even care about, you know, and that's perfectly fine. I can understand it. Honestly, overall, I can overlook those things.
Yeah. And another just kind of a negative, it's not even that big of a negative, but I did want to mention that there are a few times where it tried to go into like dramatic scenes, like kind of like your cliche dramatic scenes, and it didn't really hit that hard for me. But at the same time, the core of the movie is a comedy, so that's not really the point of the movie. So it didn't bother me that much. Yeah, it's just whenever it happened, it wasn't the strongest point.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I will say I do appreciate the effort that was put into the story.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though, like you said, at times whenever it was trying to get into those emotional aspects, those times where you really were trying to care for these characters, like you said, it really didn't fully punch as hard as they probably wanted to. But I did appreciate those scenes.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, it wasn't like the point of the movie. It wasn't trying to be like a dramatic movie. Overall, it is a comedy movie, so it didn't bother me that much.
And this movie really is for those people who just love the Nicolas Cage that we see Nicolas Cage as,
exactly.
the Nicolas Cage memes that we love. It's for those people. If you don't like Nicolas Cage, if you don't like the ridiculousness of him, don't go into this movie and then trash it afterwards. Just don't watch it.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna hate it anyways, don't walk in there, and expect to like it. Because overall, if what you're going for is that, it's a well-made movie. It's a well-made film. It's really funny.
Yeah.
And so if you go in there wanting that and expecting that and loving those aspects of Nicolas Cage, you will actually come out of this movie really, really enjoyed.
Really enjoyed.
Really, I don't know.
What kind of theater are you going to?
You'll come out really pleased, satisfied. I don't know these words.
It's not really helping, but I know what you mean.
I could have just said you come out of this movie you'll have a blast. I don't know. You'll have a blast.
That's still not helping. And this is a very, very minor spoiler. It is in the trailers, just briefly. But if you haven't watched the trailers and you just want to go in blindly, you can just skip to this timestamp if you don't want to listen to what I'm about to say. But there's Nicolas Cage does play a younger version of himself in this movie. And it's kind of funny because whenever the credits were rolling, I noticed that his younger self was credited as Nicolas Cage's real name. What's his real name?
Nicolas Coppola.
Oh, yeah.
He's part of the Coppola family.
Yeah, Nicolas Coppola.
Yeah, I think he's like Francis
Nicolas Kim Coppola, I think.
Yeah, I think he's like Francis Ford Coppola's like nephew or something like that.
Yeah.
It's even better knowing that I think he changed his name because of Luke Cage.
Oh, yeah, I think I have heard that. Yeah. Yeah, his last name Cage.
We are going to say that the unbearable weight of massive talent is 85% awesome.
That's high praise.
And guys, like I said, if this is what you're expecting, if you're expecting this really this like head first Nicolas Cage stuff, you're gonna love this movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you don't like Nicolas Cage, if you don't like his type of if you don't find at least some enjoyment out of his ridiculousness, don't go see this movie. You're not gonna like it because that's all it is. Like that's the main point.
It is a pretty silly movie.
Yeah.
Just know that going into.
Yeah. It's the main point of this movie. But overall, I love this movie. I loved it. I really did. I want to see it again. I really did have a blast with this film. And go ahead and check it out. I think it comes out in about a week or so.
Yeah, April 22nd, I believe.
22nd, yeah, go check it out.
We got to go to pre-screening of it. So it's nice.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also comment and tell us what you thought about the unbearable weight of massive talent.
Don't forget to follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and TikTok, all at 2 Awesome Men.
And as always, thank you so much for watching, and you will see us later.